Hey guys, what is going on and welcome back to Mark's Tech. From the beginning, Apple was sort of always kind of expensive. They were the first, or at least one of the first, to reach a whopping price tag of $1,000 back when the iPhone X came out. But surprisingly, it still sold very well. Let's be honest, if you can slap a Apple logo on a water bottle, it'll sell big. But the $1,000 price tag of the iPhone X was just the start. As years went by, it grew more and more, and now, if you wanted the most top-of-the-end iPhone with the most amount of memory, you're going to be looking at a cool price tag of just $1,500. Let that sink in. That is a price of a house mortgage. But you got to ask yourself, can your house take an ultra-wide photo? If it can't, then is the house really worth it? Other phone manufacturers saw what Apple was doing and they said to themselves, hey, if they can price it that high, why can't we? Just take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S10e from last year. It was still an S model of Galaxy phones, but it started at $750. Not bad at all. But take a look at the most cheapest base model Galaxy S phone of this year, the Galaxy S20, $1,000. See, the difference with Apple and other phone manufacturers is that there's only one iPhone, right? There is no, how do I put this? For example, Samsung, right? You got the Samsung S line of phones, you got the J line, you got the A line, you got other letters that I'm too lazy to look up. But if you can't afford the Galaxy S line, you can always get the Galaxy A line, which I actually have right here, and I totally regret getting this because it's it's not good. But see, the problem with going at a low tier kind of phone like this A line is because, well, you're missing out on flagship features, you're missing out on a flagship processor. This phone will hardly work smoothly in 4 years. How do I know this? Because it hardly runs smoothly today. So to help combat this, Apple released a proper budget phone with a flagship processor. This little teeny tiny iPhone is still going to be running day one updates in 5 to 6 years from now. That's pretty insane for a $400 price tag. This little iPhone has the same processor as inside the $1,500 iPhone. Again, that's insane. Many people, when they hear that, they're just like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But that is like truly insane. So here is my 1 month review of this iPhone. First things first, let's get the design out of the way. Yes, we get it. It looks old. Really old. I'm pretty sure this phone saw dinosaurs walking around Earth. But yes, it's old. It has a 4.7-inch screen. The battery life isn't exactly what I would call good. So why is this phone here? Why did Apple release this phone, and why are many people liking it? Well, first, it's a compact phone. And believe it or not, many people out there in the world still prefer a small phone. I personally know many people out there that would not upgrade to the latest of any phone because it's just too big for them. The iPhone SE fits into the hand extremely well, even with a case on, and even without a case, I never had a moment where I thought the phone was gonna slip out of my hand and French kiss the ground. It's very lightweight, as expected, coming in at 148 grams. Just as a comparison, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, a sweet 222 grams. Damn. So basically, moral of the story, it's comfy and lightweight. But I'm trying to hit the 10-minute mark on YouTube, so that's why I'm like being overly I'm overly explaining things, just as I'm doing now. Let's continue. The next thing I absolutely love on this $400 phone is the fact that it has wireless charging. Yes, it's not super duper fast wireless charging like many competitors out there. Like for example, OnePlus, God, you guys are insane, and Oppo. But the battery capacity of the iPhone SE is like 1800 milliamp hours, and trust me, the wireless charging is good enough to really quickly charge the phone up. You don't need super fast wireless charging because the capacity is so low. It's convenient to place the phone on my bedside wireless charger as I'm going to bed, and it's also pretty nice to put this phone on, in the wireless charger spot of my car. Very convenient. You don't have to have any cords, nothing. You just place it down, boom, it's charging. Now, as I mentioned a little bit ago, yes, this does have the Apple A13 chip, which is very impressive, and yes, it might be a little overkill for a phone of this size. And let me just get this out of the way. No, the processor is not underclocked like many people thought. The reason why the benchmarks show a little lower score than, for example, the iPhone 11 Pro is simply because this phone only has 3 gigabytes of RAM, while the iPhone 11 Pro has more than that. So obviously the Geekbench scores or any other scores is going to be lower simply due to that fact. But in terms of raw CPU and GPU performance, they are identical. Now, you can argue that having the Apple A13 chip on a phone this small and with a battery that is not that good might not make any sense, and I kind of agree with you. It's a little overkill. But the reason why it's there is simply because of one word:
courage.
Longevity. As apps become more and more intensive and as operating systems become more and more feature-filled, obviously it'll be really good to have an overpowered processor in there for
courage.
Longevity. That is one of the reasons why you see so many people out there that still have very old iPhones. Because they work. Apple wants, obviously, more people to use iPhones, as many people as possible, and one way to do that is to gain the public's trust into offering a phone that just works, no questions about it, works for years and years and years on end. Now, I did mention this phone has 3 gigs of RAM, and while that's not always a good thing, well, in fact, that's really never a good thing. If there is an upside to it, it's because of that A13 chip. It's so bloody quick that if your phone does need to reload something, it reloads it so quick that you don't even realize that the app closed in the first place. Would it be good to have more than 3 gigs of RAM? Yeah. Put 100 in there. Obviously, it's good. But the question is, there comes a time where you don't really need it, especially on a phone like this. This doesn't have true multitasking like Android does. There's no split screen, there's no pop-up view. So you don't really ever need 3 gigabytes of RAM. No matter what application you have open, RAM is dedicated to that open application. So let's talk about the camera. And as many of you know, this has the same camera as the iPhone 8. But thanks to that A13 chip, again, this whole video is on the A13 chip. Thanks to that A13 chip, the photo processing is much better than the iPhone 8. The only drawback is that there is no ultra wide, there is no telephoto. All you got is one little camera, and you better like it because it's the only one you got. On the video side of things, the iPhone SE isn't exactly as steady as the iPhone 11 Pro when shooting in 4K 60, and you only get standard HDR in 4K 60, while the iPhone 11 Pro has advanced HDR in 4K 60. So blah, 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 blah. Throwing the specs aside, yes, the difference is noticeable, but again, $400, $1,500. Do you guys know the phrase saving the best for last? Yeah, well, this is the exact opposite. I'm saving the worst for last. Battery. The battery on the iPhone SE is, how do I put this lightly? Have you guys ever met a girl online? Or for you ladies out there, have you ever met a guy online? And you meet them up, and they're like nowhere close to what you imagined it? Yeah, well, that's like the battery of the iPhone SE. It's okay, but you were expecting a little bit better. See, the thing with the Apple... Oh, there you go again with the Apple A13 chip. I should just title this video Apple A13 chip. The Apple A13 chip is so power efficient when you're not really doing anything. If you're not really doing anything, this phone could probably last you 6 hours, and that's pretty good. But when you open up any games, it doesn't matter. You could play, what is it? What is that game called? Minesweeper, I think. You can play that game and your battery will still die faster than you can say the phrase, damn, I should have got the iPhone 11 Pro. But it's not like that for everyone. My friend got the iPhone SE 2020, and he says that the battery for him is plenty. I thought he was lying, because this battery is not plenty for anyone. All jokes aside, he actually does like the battery life. He said that if he is running low, He has the Apple, what's it called? The 18-watt charger. He just plugs it in for like 10-15 minutes during the day, and he's back up to having enough battery to last the entire day. So the battery life isn't for me, which is exactly why I got the iPhone 7 battery case. By the way, this does work with the iPhone SE 2020. So this fits, this works. I made a video on this, by the way, if you guys want to check it out. But that's why I got the iPhone battery case. With the battery case, I am getting between 8 to 9 hours of screen on time, again, depending on what I'm doing. What can I say? Apple kind of killed it this year. You got the iPhone SE coming in at $400. You got the iPhone XR coming in at $600. The iPhone 11 coming in at $700. The 11 Pro at $1,000. And the Pro Max at $1,100. That is a very wide range of prices for a very wide range of people. So guys, thank you for watching. The iPhone SE is fantastic, man. It's old. It looks very old. It looks like you're holding a rock. But I have to give credit where credit is due. You know, Apple, instead of sacrificing the processor for a new design, they saved that money, used an old design, and put in a very, very powerful processor that is probably more important than changing the design. It's a fantastic phone. If you made it this far, leave me a cat emoji. I don't know why. Or you know what? Leave your favorite animal emoji. That's better. It'll confuse everyone who didn't make it this far. This was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.